This podcast is produced by the Harwood Productions Podcast Network. To learn more about the network and to find more of our shows, visit us online at www.harwoodpodcast.com.
Hi, I'm Cindy Harris. I've got some great side dishes and salads I'd love to share with you. Welcome to On the Side. Well, this is my macaroni salad. I've been making it for probably 1,000 years. So let me show you what I do. I first start by getting some boiling water going, and I like to get these little salad macaronis. They're just these little tiny ones, but you could use elbow macaroni too if you like. Then I go ahead and cook up a half a pound of macaroni. And once I get it in the hot water, I get a spoon to kind of stir it up a little bit so the macaroni doesn't stick together. And then to get a little flavor going on, I add a little bit of salt. And then I just cook it for the amount of time the package says, usually about 10 minutes. Now, while the pasta's cooking, I'm going to go ahead and get an onion, a small onion, and I'm going to go ahead and cut it in half because I'm only going to be using half the onion. But I am going to chop it up into a fairly fine dice. And the reason I like to do a fine dice for this salad is because it is raw onion, and I don't like big chunks to stand out in the salad. I'd rather have them be smaller so they kind of blend in. That when you bite into something, you don't feel like, oh my gosh, I'm getting this big piece of onion. So continue to chop it until you get a fairly fine dice. Well, when the timer goes off and the pasta is done, go ahead and put it in a colander in the sink. And because this salad is cold, go ahead and start running cold water on it because this pasta holds a ton of heat, and you can't really start putting it together until the pasta is cold. So I just go ahead and run cold water. I use my hands, and once it feels nice and cold to me, then that's great. The only deal is you want to make sure that when you're done running the water that you really give the colander a bunch of good shakes, because you really do want to get all that water off. So then put your pasta in a big bowl, and I always suggest using the biggest bowl you have because it makes it so much easier to mix in. So then I'm going to add my finely diced onion, and then I'm going to start adding some other ingredients. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a large can of sliced olives. Now you can use chopped olives too, but the sliced gives a nice, kind of a different look. And then I use 1 whole jar of dill pickle relish, juice and all. And then kind of my secret ingredient is I use a can of tuna. Now this is just white tuna in water that I've drained off, and I just flake it right into the bowl with everything else. Now, a half a pound of pasta is quite a bit, so you are going to need to use some salt to season and also some fresh black pepper, and that's always to taste. And then I go ahead and I start mixing this up. This is before I put in the dressing because I want to try to get all those little bits of things kind of all mixed together. Sometimes if you add the dressing too early, things start clumping together. So I want a nice mix, everything dispersed in the bowl. Now for the dressing, I use light mayonnaise, and I use between 1/2 and 3/4 of a cup. It all kind of depends. You just eyeball it. And then I go ahead and I start mixing that in. Now because I've used that dill relish, it kind of mixes with the mayonnaise to make a nice sort of dressing. If you needed more, you could add a little just of plain pickle juice, but it looks like this is coming together really nicely. So just go ahead and start mixing, mixing, mixing. And then just to add a little contrast to this, I like to add a little jar of diced pimentos. You'll see that just having that little splash of red really kind of adds something to this salad. Now this macaroni salad you can keep in the fridge for 2 or 3 days. And if you find that it starts to get dry because the pasta is absorbing some of the liquid, you can add a little bit more pickle juice and a little bit more mayonnaise if you'd like. Like I said, I've been making this macaroni salad forever, and my family just loves it. It's moist, it's flavorful, and that little bit of tuna gives it a nice protein hit. If you'd like to get any of the recipes for any of these great side dishes or salads, go to our website at www.harwoodpodcast.com. Also, if you've got any questions or ideas for me, send me an email. I'll see you next time.